Aloha! Welcome to Chappy's Tiki Bar. I'm Chappy and this is Mookie. This is part 2 of my series on finding joy in Tiki. I'm getting the information from the book Joyful by Ingrid Fetell Lee. Today we're going to focus on abundance and how it relates to Tiki culture. Abundance is number 2 on our list of aesthetics that are related to finding joy.
And basically it just explains how your brain works. So if you're a caveman and you're wandering in the forest and you find an area by a river with abundance, your brain's telling you this is good. So abundance
is basically just a survival mechanism. Your brain tells you you like something, you don't know why you like it, but you like it. If it's a plush area or lots of fruit growing on trees or anything that can help you survive, your brain's telling you this is good. Ingrid Fetell Lee writes, "It only seems natural that humans develop a predilection for abundance. It ensures that people would take advantage of a windfall when it came, shoring up resources for the lean times that would inevitably follow. Those who reveled in abundance were more likely to survive than those who were indifferent to it, encoding this preference deep in our genes. Though we inhabit a very different world from our hunter-gatherer ancestors, we carry the legacy of their fragile subsistence when we pig out on buffets and buy too much at clearance sales. Just like our taste for sugar or fat, our love for abundance is remnant of our biological drive to design to help us navigate a scarce and uncertain world." We no longer rely on those plants and birds for subsistence, of course, but somehow we sense the abundance in our surroundings and it creates an unconscious ease. The kind of abundance that really matters is not material accumulation, but the sensorial richness. The circus and the flea market are so joyful because of the collection of rich, delightful sensations they offer. The abundance aesthetic is defined by a layering of color, texture, and patterns, and you don't need a lot of stuff to achieve it. The sensory stimulation inside the womb is limited. Much of our perceptual capacity must be developed after birth. Our brain can't develop in isolation. It requires a constant dialogue with the environment, particularly one with the abundance of textures, colors. Research has shown that as few as 15 minutes of sensory deprivation can cause hallucinations, paranoid thoughts, and negative moods. In one study, participants left alone in an unadorned room for 15 minutes opted to give themselves electric shocks rather than sit alone with nothing to do or look at. Sensation is a big part of how the world makes sense to us. Without information coming into the brain, we slowly go insane. This is where tiki bars thrive. They offer a dazzling array of sights, sounds, and experiences, beautiful, vibrant colors, plant life, amazing artwork, music to set the tone. And not to mention the wonderful drinks with flowers and fruit coming out of them, served in tiki mugs that are considered artwork. If you ever been to a tiki bar, it's like a smorgasbord for your senses. It's a true delight, and all the boxes are checked for your sensory experience. One of the godfathers of tiki culture was Vic Bergeron. Trader Vic Bergeron's first wife, Esther, gave him the nickname Trader Vic because of his habit of bartering meals and drinks for supplies. Trader Vic's became a popular destination for tiki drinks, even making its way into popular culture, such as Warren Zevon's 1978 hit Werewolves of London. He made many innovations, and it seemed like his marketing strategy, especially with the food and the drinks, he definitely used the aesthetic of abundance. He was known for his showmanship and promotional skills, even letting customers stick ice picks in his wooden leg to get customers in the early days of the Depression. First, a little history of the originator of the Mai Tai. So we've mentioned Don the Beachcomber on this show multiple times, but the second tiki bar in America was Trader Vic's. So Trader Vic's created the first Mai Tai. They also had a creation called Crab Rangoon, which we'll get to later. So I'll just read you a little bit from this book. It's called Smugglers, Cove, Exotic Cocktails, Rum, and the Cult of Tiki, written by Martin Cate with Rebecca Cate. It says, The Trader. It was not what you'd characterize as an easy upbringing. Born Victor Jules Bergeron in San Francisco in 1902, he suffered from a string of childhood illnesses, culminating in tuberculosis of the bone at age 4. He was in the hospital when the Great Quake of 1906 struck, and again 2 years later to have his leg amputated to stop the spread of TB. Raised by French parents who loved to hunt and cook, Vic's family settled in Oakland, California when he was 9 and opened a small grocery store as a young man. Victor moved through a series of jobs and recurrent bouts of tuberculosis before borrowing $800 from his aunt, building a 22 by 26 foot one-room restaurant across from the grocery store in 1934. It wasn't much to look at. Room for 30 inside if they felt like getting cozy, a pot-bellied stove to warm up the place and heat some meals on. But Victor knew how to entertain a guest. A little song, a little dance, maybe a card trick or two. Free lunches of salted herring and crab, washed down with a couple of 10-cent beers, kept the Depression-era crowds coming in all hours. Soon other rooms were added to the structure, and the place took on a feel of a hunting lodge. It was called Hinky Dinks, and despite being located on a dusty stretch of San Pablo Avenue and having cattle marched past the front door daily on their way to the slaughterhouse, it managed to become a sensation. Although Vic had a rowdy and convivial hit on his hands, he knew better than to rest on his laurels. Vic served the kind of standard simple cocktail you find in a neighborhood saloon. But he took notice of one of his drinks. The creamy rum-packed banana cow was widely popular. He started to wonder if maybe people might pay a few cents more to drink something a bit more celebratory, a touch more exotic. In an effort to improve his own knowledge of cocktails and hopefully make a few extra bucks upon his return, he and his wife took an extended trip to Louisiana and the Caribbean. His travels brought him to some of the most legendary bars in New Orleans and Havana. He picked the brains of bartenders he met there, the hows, the whys, the tips, the tricks. The menu was soon augmented with the drinks he had seen on his travels, and a few creative spins of his own. It worked. The regulars were anxious to try his latest inventions, and first-time visitors became regulars soon enough. But while Vic had seen the cradle of the daiquiri in Havana and tasted the cooling elixirs of New Orleans, there was a sound calling him from much closer to home. Word had traveled north of an unusual little watering hole in Hollywood that was drawing in both stars and stargazers. Vic wanted to see for himself. In 1937, he made the first pilgrimage to Don the Beachcomber. The first time he pushed open the rattan and jade-tiled doors left him a changed man. In fact, he never wanted to leave. While Vic would forever give credit to Don in his menus and freely admit his visit offered inspiration, former Don the Beachcomber's employees tell a tale of a man they called the rope hanger. Between his constant questions about the food and drinks and his gawking at celebrities, Vic was eventually shown the door, but would stand outside against the velvet ropes all night just hoping for a chance to get back into the palace. Vic returned home inspired. Don's rum and celebrity-filled boîte confirmed Vic's belief that tropical was the way forward. His wife agreed, and they set about transforming the decor of the Hinky Dinks space. Lots of decoration causes lots of conversation, and lots of conversation sells lots of drinks. Vic would later recount in his autobiography. Down came the snowshoes and deer heads, and up went the fish nets and float lamps. He bought pieces from friends and even Don Beach, but it was his habit of offering his guests food and drink in exchange for decorative curios that earned both Victor and his joint a nickname that would be found above the doors of his restaurants for decades to come. Trader Vic. At the same time, Vic had been traveling across the bay to San Francisco, dining at Chinese restaurants with an eye towards one day opening a Chinese place of his own. But now he realized that the westernized version of Chinese food that had become popular around the West Coast during the Depression was the perfect foil to the kind of drinks he had planned to serve. The food was filling, inexpensive, and yet maintained an air of exotic. Tastes were foreign to the uninitiated palate of the time. So Victor sniffed around Chinatown and came back with a few ideas of his own. He had Chinese ovens built which were capable of quickly cooking and smoking meats with an indirect flame, and these would become a signature of all his future restaurants. Vic himself wrote, "There was no fanfare about the opening, just closed one day as Hinky Dinks selling sandwiches and opened as Trader Vic selling tropical drinks and Chinese food." What that uncharacteristically modest statement does not reveal was at the heart of both ventures there was a man whose outsized personality became one of the restaurant's most featured attractions. His bellowing laugh and warm but gruff demeanor became well known throughout the San Francisco Bay Area. Vic's tales of the South Seas adventure and his own birth on a distant atoll were purely imaginary. He wouldn't travel there until years later. His wooden leg, a legacy of childhood tuberculosis, now became the memento of a shark attack, and guests were shocked and delighted as he drove a knife into it for their amusement. By 1941, Pulitzer Prize-winning San Francisco columnist Herb Caen declared, to the everlasting delight of Vic, "The best restaurant in San Francisco is in Oakland," a statement that ruffled feathers of San Franciscans then as it would now. For guests seated among the engaging artifacts of the South Seas commerce, both real and imagined, it wasn't just the decor on the walls that had them talking. It was the decor in their hands as well. Drinks came in elaborate bowls and vases depicting island scenes topped with fragrant flowers and souvenir swizzle sticks, all of which added to the experience and fueled repeat sales. Vic's foray into exotic cocktails was a unique hybrid of his travels and observations, with a few genuine inventions of his own. In 1944, it all coalesced into the ultimate creation, the Mai Tai, the drink that would cement his place in history. Now, Ingrid Fetell Lee writes, "Left unsatisfied, the craving for sensation can become an actual hunger. A few years ago, on a trip to Kauai, I noticed something funny. 5 days in, I hadn't had a single snack between meals. This was strange because at home, I'm an introvert grazer. Nearly always a packet of trail mix or a bowl of popcorn on my desk. But on this vacation, not a nibble. I realized that in Hawaii, I was surrounded all day by the lush texture of the jungle, the whoosh of the ocean, and the smell of salt water. I had my feet in volcanic sand and a lei of flowers around my neck. I was satiated head to toe. Sure enough, by 11 a.m. on the first day back in the office, I had my head in the snack cabinet, hunting for almonds. People are quick to blame habits and to dismiss this mindless eating, but I believe that it ignores the root cause. In our humdrum environments, we live with a sensorial hunger, and without any other means to satisfy it, we feed it." So back to Trader Vic, he definitely saw this opportunity and saw the hunger, and he fed it. And he also has a connection to Hawaii. Trader Vic, the pioneer of tiki culture and creator of the Mai Tai, brought his unique blend of Polynesian cuisine and cocktails to Hawaii, notably formalizing drinks for the bars at the Matson Steamship Line hotels in the early 1950s. These hotels were the Royal Hawaiian Moana and the Surf Rider hotels. During this time, Trader Vic introduced the Mai Tai, along with 10 other exotic drinks to the Royal Hawaiian Bar. The Mai Tai quickly became a hit, overshadowing the other 9 drinks within 30 days. While the Mai Tai is now synonymous with Hawaii, it actually originated in California at Trader Vic's in Oakland, where Bergeron claimed to have invented it in 1944. You can definitely see the aesthetic of abundance in Hawaiian Aloha shirts. Aloha shirts represent the culture and heritage of Hawaii. Their patterns represent Hawaiian elements that symbolize Hawaiian culture and tradition. These shirts symbolize the spirit of aloha to describe a relaxed lifestyle or positive attitude associated with island life. The word aloha itself is the essence of being, love, peace, compassion, and a mutual understanding of respect. Aloha means living in harmony with people and land around you, with mercy, sympathy, grace, and kindness. So the Hawaiian people are all about the abundance of their island, and you can see this readily in the printed patterns on these shirts. There's simply abundance everywhere on these brightly colored shirts. Hawaiian culture is deeply intertwined with nature, emphasizing stewardship and respect for the land and sea, with concepts like malama aina. This concept emphasizes the responsibility of caring for the land, viewing plants and animals not just as resources, but as ancestors, companions, and teachers. So signifies a deep love and respect for the land, encouraging mindful consumption and gratitude towards nature. Native Hawaiians have historically lived in balance with their environment, relying on natural resources like fish, plants, and fruits for food, practicing sustainable living to ensure resources for future generations. The use of lei, made from flowers and other natural materials, is a symbol of respect and appreciation for nature. The hula dance, with its various forms, often incorporates themes and movements related to the natural world. Ancient Hawaiians worshipped a vast number of deities, of which there were 2 main categories. Aku represented nature's elements. They were the personification of great natural forces. The Aumakua were the familiar ancestral protective gods. It's no coincidence that the Aku Aku was the name of a Polynesian-themed restaurant and bar and was a prominent feature of the Stardust Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, operating from 1960 to 1980, known for its moai statues and tiki culture. The Aku Aku restaurant opened in 1960, riding the wave of tiki culture that was popular in the 1960s. The restaurant was known for its tropical decor, and its menu had rare and exotic dishes and strong drinks. Aku Aku was a popular destination for those interested in tiki culture, offering a unique experience. The Stardust closed in 2006, and in 2007 was imploded, marking the end of the Las Vegas era. The Aku Aku and the Stardust remain part of Las Vegas history, remembered for their role in the city's entertainment and tourism. The moai statues that were part of the Aku Aku entrance were later relocated to Sunset Park in Henderson, Nevada, where they can still be seen. Ingrid Fetell then goes on to say, it turns out the word gaudy has its roots in Latin gaudere, to rejoice or delight in something, which happens to be the same root that gave us the word joy. Choosing abundance is not a moral failing. It's an expression of a deep human delight. It's an acknowledgement that we're here to do more than eke out an existence between birth, death, and chores. We are here, as Diane Ackerman writes, to not just live out the length of our lives, but the width of them as well. We are here to see rainbows and paint them, to be tickled and enthralled, to eat a second cupcake if we choose, and to occasionally feel the truth of Mae West's famous quote, "Too much of a good thing can be wonderful."
Thanks for watching another edition of Chappy's Tiki Bar. Make sure to hit that notification bell. We get a new episode every Friday. This is Chappy saying life is hard. That's just the way it goes, but sometimes it goes the other way. See you next time on Chappy's Tiki Bar.